going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's me, Mikey fucking Pipes. Some of you don't believe me. Some of you don't believe me. Folks, it is 5:34 on Thursday, January 8th, 2026. And I am in the great United States territory. No, not of Greenland, not yet. U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas. And I got down here about 2 minutes ago. I got that chair, I got that chair, I got that chair, that chair, that chair, that chair. And no, I'm not taking all these chairs to be a chair hoarder. I'm doing this because I was up at 4:30 in the morning anyway, so leave me the fuck alone. These chairs here, there's these two couples. They've been here about the same time we've been here. I think they're leaving tomorrow or maybe even today, but I've been getting these chairs for them. They come down in about about 25 minutes. I'll be surprised if they're not down here by 6. But I got those two chairs, my wife and I. Today, man baby's coming. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun today, which is a lot of doing nothing, but just sitting right there. And when I get too hot, I go in there, and when I get too wet, I go back there, and then when I get too hot again, I go back there, and then between like 7 and 8:30. I'm gonna go upstairs to my villa and I am going to make myself breakfast. I'm gonna make myself, and I think I perfected this. I really do think I perfected this. Now I'm kind of limited by the, I guess, groceries. You can get anything you want here, but it's kind of hard to really get like good, what you used to at home groceries. Like English muffins. I'm not paying $20 for a package of English muffins. That's ridiculous, right? But all the condiments and other little grocery things we bring, but like the breads and the milks and the juices, you really can't schlep it here from the States, It's just you can't. So we got Wonder Bread. So let me tell you about my breakfast sandwich, guys. You're really gonna appreciate this breakfast sandwich. Oh, I cannot wait to tell you what this breakfast sandwich is. Now, some of you may disagree. If not, just hear me out for a second. So, I take 1 scrambled egg, right? And right, with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and I scramble that together. And I take my frying pan, and I spray it, with the stuff, spray. Well, the oven is heating up because it's not a gas cooktop. It's an electric cooktop, and it's not even an induction. It goes straight up like electric cooktop, It takes a little bit getting used to. You use the flame. I take 2 slices of Wonder Bread. Again, when I'm working with folks. And I put that in a toaster. I cook the egg. Right? I take out a slice of American cheese. Right, out of the refrigerator, and I take the butter. The butter with sea salt with canola oil. I think, or maybe I think it's the canola oil one. It could be the other one that's safer. You know what I'm talking about, right? So the egg cooks for until it's cooked, right? I take the toast out. I butter one side. I put the egg on top of the piece of toast. I put a slice of cheese on top of that, and I let the butter slice from the bottom. Like this, cut it in half, and now I got myself a perfect little 1 egg sandwich. Hey, listen, it's better than a butter roll. Would you say? A lot less carbs. So, oh my God, shut the fuck up, you cockadoodle-doer. The roosters are roosting. Yep. So this morning I wake up at around, I'm going to say it's around 4:10, maybe 4:15. Could have been 4:30, but I think it was definitely 4 something. And of course, you know what I do, what everyone else does. You open up your phone and you start scrolling. I'm not swiping. You're not going to find me on Tinder, ladies and gentlemen. Nope. or grinder. No, get your head out of the gutter, folks. Get your head out of the gutter. So I go on Facebook. Now, I don't really use Facebook that much, but I recently discovered this marketplace thing, and I think it's a big, giant scam, but Connor from Connor's Cars, my son Connor, he happens to almost exclusively use Facebook Marketplace to sell his cars for his business, and does quite well at it. Well, at least not according to the IRS. But, that's a whole nother story. So I open up Facebook, and I have this group called No Fucks Given. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. It's called No Fucks Given, right? And there's a picture here of a receipt. A restaurant receipt. The Rustic Spoon in Seattle, Washington. Well, that just says it all. Woke motherfuckers in Washington. Anyway, it's a receipt. And this is why are people posting this from a year and a half ago? Like, seriously, look at the date of this receipt. 10/26/2024. So here is the receipt, right? And what? Oh, WA sales tax. It looks like MA sales tax, right? Oh no, Seattle, Washington. That does say MA sales tax, not WA, Washington. Yeah, this is very sus, by the way. Right, 20% service charge added to your bill. Thanks for dining with us, right? And the question is, to be honest, how much would you tip? Now, folks, I don't know about you, but for some reason, gratuity or tippage, when dining in the United States, we're not talking about Europe because it's already built in to the price, because in Europe, they believe in paying, employees a living wage, and you don't have to, they don't have to rely on tips like they do here in America, because we do have things backwards here. America is backwards. Let's keep it real. Listen, why are we not on the metric system where the rest of the world is on? We're on the imperial system, right? Why do we have miles and not kilometers? Just saying. Right? But I don't know about you, but, customary up until a few years ago, 15% was customary. Now, some people would say 15%, of the food total or the total, not including beverages and, alcoholic beverages, or including it. But when did 20% become like the norm now, right? At the bottom of the receipt, it says a 20% service charge has been added to your bill, right? That service charge is not paying to run the restaurant. I'm sorry, right? The service charge, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to your service charge. The person who serviced you, who served you, your server or your waitress. I don't know what happened to the word waitress and waiter, because what are we trying to be politically correct? Because we don't know if they have a vagina and they identify as a goat. Yeah, how about that? But anyway, that's a whole another topic and a whole nother video and a whole nother rant and rave. But I'm sorry, if you're born with a penis, you're a male. If you're born with reproductive organs, right, as a human race, Homo sapien, you haven't heard that word since grade school, have you? And then you're a female. So if you got a vagina, you're a female. You got a penis, you're a male. There's no other way to sugarcoat that, right? If you want to cut off your penis, you can't just insert a vagina here, like X marks the spot. It doesn't work that way, right? Anyway, I commented. I'm the first comment, by the way. Actually, no, I'm the second comment. Oh, fuck. That it's included, you fucking idiot. And listen, the title of the group is called No Fucks Given. So, it's included, you fucking idiot, is it's appropriate. But this L.R. Freeman happened to wrote 0, which is correct. That is the correct answer. How much you give? 0, because it's 0, they already took a tip. But this one right here, Linda Planthand Lauserman Sellers. Like, oh yeah. I hope that's your mom and not your gay lover, but nonetheless. She's a member of No Fucks Given since November 2025. And she's a digital creator. Well, anyway, good for her. So anyway, let's go back to all comments. Let's go back to the beginning of time. Oh, man, I'm sorry you could scroll with me, folks. And why is my thing not there? Come on. Did I get, like, they deleted my comment. Oh, there it is. It's included, you fucking idiot. So she just needs to be the, I don't know, she needs to have the need to speak. That's a service charge. It's not an order gratuity. Since you want to call people fucking idiot, two entirely different things, smartass. I work in the industry, but you seem to know it all. That's right, bitch. I know it all. English is not your primary language, is it? Oh, man, this is the freaking nonsense that's wrong with this world. Come on, what is wrong with people? You're in a Facebook group called No Fucks Given, yet you expect people to be politically correct. Are you stupid or something? So in yesterday's social media post that I uploaded to Instagram, and I don't think I did it to YouTube as a short yet, but I posted a video post, a reel about my collaboration with House Cold Pro, which is now going into its third year. And in order to keep my quote-unquote ambassador status, they wanted me to create a reel using a template, whatever, and talking about what am I going to build great in 2026. And I was like, oh, I'm just sitting here, literally sitting here yesterday morning, right around the same time, maybe a little bit later, maybe a couple hours later, like maybe around 7 o'clock, 7:30, when the sun was up a little bit. And I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And I'm like, I know exactly what I'm going to talk about, because it's been on my mind for, I don't know, about a good six or so months. And I am really, when I get back, we are going to shove these maintenance agreements so far down our clients' throats, they're going to fucking choke on it. And I don't mean that being like, you know, like an asshole about it. No, like it's a great value. So one person yesterday asked me, like, Mike, and I, you know, like they know you and they call you Mike versus Mikey, right? And they call you Mikey, they only know you from social media. If they call you Mike, then they kind of know you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you. And he goes, how do you price these maintenance agreements? And I'm like, well, do I like copy blah 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 down the block and make it happen and do it that way? And I'm like, well, you're not just copying what the guy down the street charges, right? Now you may want to copy the template if another service provider has a template on their website, you want to use that. And like, I'm not, you know, you should draft up your own. But and with technology now like AI and Chat GPT, there's no reason why you can't create your own. That being said, you know, I'm assuming we're going to be talking about residential. Now, if in a residential setting is much different than commercial, but I also offer we also offer a commercial HVAC maintenance plan, you know, like dealing with rooftop units. But you have to just factor in, you know, they want more of a rapid response rate, and you're not really going to typically get called in after hours because most of it's businesses. But if you're going to be dealing with like retail and they're open, you know, late till 11 o'clock at night, then they have no heat or no cooling at 10 o'clock at night, they may want someone to come out. But pricing, you know, residential heating, HVAC maintenance contracts is about correctly balancing your real operating costs and the risk associated with that and perceived value. And like I said, you're not just copying what the guy down the street does. And what you really have to start with, and regardless, I don't really ever think I don't think I really actually went too much in details on talking about what your true cost is. And so many contractors, so many companies just skip out this part, and they just think that, okay, it could be $150 an hour or $95 an hour or whatever it is, right? So listen to this, Mr. Sunshine. And I know John Phillips Plumbing, Sarasota, Florida. I'm not directing this towards you. You're right. Listen, if you have no overhead and you're operating out of your home, you still have overhead, you still have expenses, right? But nonetheless, you need to determine what your true costs are. Your labor, right? The hourly labor rate plus the burden, which is taxes, insurance, benefits, etc. Your truck costs, the fuel, the wear and tear, the insurance, the potential repairs, things like that, maintenance, upkeep, oil changes. Don't forget about all that good stuff. And back to the labor part, you also have continuing education. How frequently are you going to send or go to for continuous education, admin costs, dispatching, your billing, your CRM, your credit card processing, your cell phones. Well, that's more into overhead, but admin is more of like what the cost of that is. The cost of goods sold, right? Not yet, right? But how about things like consumables, right? I always leave the work area cleaner, and I try to do this. I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? I try to leave the work area cleaner when I left than when I got there. Now, I'm not a housekeeping service. We're not a cleaning service, but if I'm working on a furnace or a boiler or a toilet, right? I'm not scrubbing down the toilet, making it look shiny and clean. But if I'm working inside a toilet tank, I'm going to make sure that I do my best to make everything around that clean. Okay? But in most markets, right? Let's take overhead, right? You have your rent or mortgage. You have your general liability insurance, right? You have your any software, computers, the electric, utilities, gas, whatever, the fuel, oil, whatever you're using, for energy. Marketing, right? A lot of companies say we should take 10% of our adjusted gross income or net income, whatever you want to do, and 10% should be the number. If you want the phones to ring at a good enough level, everything has to get factored in, everything. So when you add up all these numbers, right, and there's formulas, you can Google it, use ChatGPT if you want, right? When you add up all these numbers, you'll have your true cost per maintenance visit, right? And that could be, could be $100, could be $350, right? If you live in a dense urban or metropolitan area, your burden, your overhead, your expenses, your everything is not going to be like a guy living in Podunk, Iowa. So first you got to figure out your true costs, and then you need to, once you have this number, if it's $250 a month, include any applicable sales taxes that you need to add to it, right? And divide it by 12. And that will give you your monthly offering price to your clients. If you work on just one type of system, you're just going to have one template, one form, one number. If you work on different types of systems, like maybe condensing furnaces or condensing boilers or more complex equipment that requires more of a detailed teardown, like I said, I'm not going to offer a $25 a month maintenance plan to a customer with a cast iron boiler that now upgraded to a high efficiency condensing like U.S. boiler Burnham Alpine, which needs to be taken apart, once a year. The cost burdens are different, right? I need to now do that maintenance kit. I need to flush out the heat exchanger. I need to open up the heat exchanger. Every situation is different, but you got to. The next step is defining the maintenance structure. What's included, what's not. And the only way you're going to have a profitable agreement is with predictable, limited, and clearly defined foundation, the terms and conditions, basically. The core inclusions. What's industry standard? 1 annual precision tune-up, combustion analysis, safety inspection, priority scheduling, discount on repairs, no overtime or after-hours trip charges. And what shouldn't be included? No free parts, no free labor, no unlimited visits, right? No emergency repairs, right? Because those are loss leaders, and those are not maintenance plans. All right. So what my company does is we offer maintenance plans, yeah, and mostly because of wording of state law. So you have to check with your attorney before you offer anything like this, right? But we offer maintenance plans, not service contracts. It's a maintenance plan because we're offering to provide a maintenance which is discounted, and you're paying for it over the period of 12 months. Quite simple. Recommended pricing tiers. You got a standard furnace anywhere between $250 and low threes annual price. Condensing boiler, $300 to $400 or more, depending on what kind of condensing boilers. If you're doing tons of lock and bars and that's all you're doing, great. If you're doing other wall hung equipment, maybe on the lower side of that, it depends on what you got to do. Oil, I don't really know, but I know you have the strainer, the nozzle, the filter, a tune and vac, that's probably between $350 and $500. Again, all these numbers are just recommended pricing tiers based on my factors, right? Your numbers could change. Steam boiler, we recently started doing it this year where it's $440. We're going to do a tear down of this boiler. No, we're not taking apart the covers and scrubbing the heat exchanger. No, we're not doing that, but we're taking out all the components. All right, so the probe for the low water cutoff, the pressure troll, the pigtail, the nipple that goes into the boiler, all the burners, right? We're vacuuming all that out. Combustion analysis, right? Everything. We're not talking about one with a hot water coil. With a hydronic zone off the bottom of the boiler. Nope. But anywhere, $350 to $600. Tankless water heater, $400. To descale that. And steam obviously is higher because of the longer service time and, keeping it real, fewer qualified technicians, and you have a higher failure rate with those as well, especially with those vent dampers this year. Oh, man. All right, guys, enjoy. I'll see you later. And it's 6 a.m. Thanks for letting me rant and rave this morning. Enjoy your Thursday or your Friday or your Saturday, whenever you're watching this. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one. Be well. God bless. Stay safe.